Hello and welcome back to Who Ordered Coffee. Today I am your host, Hanae. It's me, and I am joined with two of my favourite people in the world. Who are you?
It's me.
It's Jonathon and
One of
Elliot. Yeah, it's just Jonathon. Speaking of just Jonathon, unfortunately I have some very, very bad news to share with you.
Tragic news.
Elliot is leaving us forever.
Oh. No!
No, so Elliot's not leaving us forever, but he is leaving us for this season, I think, as Elliot is working on the musical Grease. So if you haven't bought your ticket, go buy it and go watch it.
Grease is the word, it's the word, it's the word.
And that's
that you
the
heard.
trailer sung by Elliot. So we're very proud of Elliot, but we will be very sad to see him not here.
Come see me smile so wide, just so wide, and get bullied relentlessly.
By who?
That's everyone. By everyone. That's all the show is.
Oh.
It's perfect.
Okay, I'll come see this.
Were you not going to come see it originally?
No, I was, but now I have
she was
even better reason to come see it.
Converted by the fact that I was just going to get bullied.
Literally.
I was going to go see it, but I thought, oh, this is an interesting character trait.
Man, all my characters get bullied. I have never not played someone who gets bullied.
That's so true. Oh, that's so sad. Okay, next. Method acting. Oh, now I'm sad. Oh, that's depressing. Okay, go see Elliot get bullied again, but in a different look, I guess. Okay, so
Correct.
Just to say right off the bat, today's topic is Disney. So if you're a Disney fan, this episode is for you. If not, stick around. See what
this episode is also for you.
Yes.
That's still also for you. Let's be real. If you're here for episode 2 of season 2, you know you're
in it.
You're in it for us, hopefully.
No, it's just the topics, not us.
Someone has specifically found this show and was like, oh, this is a Disney-themed episode based off this title that has yet to be decided. And I've never heard of these hosts before. I don't like these people.
They're so annoying. One's even leaving, thank goodness. Yeah, if you're like that, actually let us know because I'm curious. You can be anonymous, but I want to know if there's at least one person.
The one hater watcher.
Who are you? It turns out it's one of us.
It was me all along.
Okay, so I thought we would start off something similar to last week, and we're returning with our season 2 segment, Little Fun Things. Anyone want to go first?
Elliot, please go first.
Oh, please.
I nominate Elliot. Tribute.
Elliot, do you have a fun little story to share with us?
I have a very ridiculous story to share with you.
Oh, I'm so ready.
So I had my vocal lesson the other day.
Yep.
And I went in and he's like, have we got you on the exercise ball yet? And I was like, no. And so we got on the exercise ball, did some exercises. Obviously, it's an exercise ball. Come on, be serious. And then he's like, you need to get one of these. And I was like, okay, I'll get one of those. So I went to Big W and I picked up an exercise ball and I was like, do I get the 65 centimeter or the 75 centimeter? 65 and I was like, okay, let's get the 75. Bigger is always better. Grabbed the 75 centimeter exercise ball, got myself a pump because we don't own one, and went home. Later that night, I was like, okay, it's time to pump this up. It's time. Let's get this going. Let's finish this off tonight. It should only take like 20 minutes or something like that. Like, it won't be too hard. It took me 2.5 hours. I had the pump refuse to insert into the ball. I had the pump break in 2 different places. And then I resorted to using a straw and blowing it up with my mouth. And it was honestly a travesty. It was a travesty. But now I have a new member of the family, Mr. Wrinklesack, my purple ball. So that
welcome
is
to the world, Mr. Wrinklesack.
Welcome to the world, Mr. Wrinklesack. My
not a sentence I ever thought I'd say, but here we are.
Yeah, I don't think I ever thought I'd hear that.
Own ball filled up with my own hot air.
I actually got to watch this on Instagram.
It was a trial.
I really enjoyed it. Not gonna lie,
It was a journey and a half.
It was an emotional journey.
It really was.
Yeah. Like I saw you trying to blow this thing up and then I was like, is Elliot going to do this? Is Elliot going to succeed?
You were along for the journey.
I was here for it. I was committed to seeing if Elliot was going to blow up the ball or if it was just going to be deflated forever.
Literally. If I had just started with blowing it up like by myself, it would have taken about 20 minutes and it did not. It took 2.5 hours.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that fun little weird story. I actually have one as well.
Oh, please.
Remember how last week I was talking about Birdman?
Birdman.
Correct.
Yes. Well, this week it's Baguette Man.
Baguette Man.
Baguette Man.
Yeah. So Dad and I were driving, and you know how I said that normally the only guy who rides on the bike is Birdman with his birds.
Yes.
So we saw this guy riding a bike, and we all looked, and Dad was like about to say, "Hey, it's Birdman," and we both were stunned to see no birds. We're like, what? Where are your birds? And then we realized, oh, it's not him. we looked for the birds first, obviously, but then we saw out of his backpack was the giant long baguettes, and we're like, oh, it's Baguette Man. I thought that was the greatest moment of my week, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty awesome.
That's so good.
Became Baguette Man.
Yeah, that's half my story. The other half was me getting murdered every night all week by a tarantula on my Animal Crossing island.
Oh.
Not in real life.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm all good. But I don't know why it was the exact same spot in my island for the last few nights that I was getting murdered. And I can't see it because it always hides behind the fountain. And then when you run past it, it's like, ooh, you dare run past me?
Oh my god.
Yeah. So maybe I should stop running on my island, but I probably won't.
That is the simple solution.
That is, but I'd be so slow. And I still, unfortunately, have not found the last piece of the castle that I'm looking for. It's been a few months. I'm getting...
It's an ongoing journey.
It is.
But what a story it'll be when you finish it. Hey?
I know. I will finish my castle on my island. Okay, so that's my whole rant section. I won't get too bogged down in the Animal Crossing world. Jonathan, do you have a story to share or no story at all?
Unfortunately, I don't have a story as interesting as either of yours. I will have to resort to talking about a movie I watched, which was quite fun,
Ooh,
and somewhat
Jonathan
related
reviews.
to what you just said. Yes, welcome to a new mini segment.
Jonathan reviews.
The Jonathan movie reviews, completely without any sort of critical thinking.
Instead of Rotten Tomatoes, you should say Rotten Turnips.
Rotten Turnips, hello.
Yeah, go for
Welcome
it.
to Rotten Turnips.
I prefer Jonathan's judging, but go off.
Yep. So my little fun thing was slightly superhero Birdman, but instead of Birdman, it's of course actually Batman. I watched the Lego Batman movie. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, yes.
It was a very good film. I actually really enjoyed this from top to bottom. I've had pretty positive experiences with Lego movies in the past, so I had no reason to assume it wouldn't be good. I just didn't know how good it was going to be. As it turns out, it was a movie that honored and made fun of, at the same time, the entire history of Batman. And even though I didn't know everything about Batman, I'm not a super huge Batman fan, I found myself laughing at most of the jokes. Most of the Batman digs and most of the things.
Film.
I just happen to know enough, and it's just it's almost like a testament to the character. The character's been around for so long that even when you think you know nothing about Batman, it actually turns out, no, it's been around long enough that you will just know you will just pick up knowledge about Batman by just being alive. So it was a fantastic movie, really well animated, just non-stop hilarity, and I wanted to point out specifically the soundtrack as well. Obviously, as a composer, this is sort of the number one thing I look out for whenever I consume any kind of entertainment content. So I really enjoyed the soundtrack. It goes so hard, you guys. It's by Lauren Balfe. I can never say his name properly, but that man, he goes very hard with his music, and it's so over the top, unapologetically over the top, which is absolutely perfect for the tone of the Batman film, this Lego Batman film. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that. That's my little fun thing. Not as hilarious or truly as fun as your guys' story, but it was a little fun thing.
No, I liked it. Don't undo all your hard work of coming up with a story. For that, you both get a point.
Hey.
Going back to our actual topic, Disney.
Oh yes, that thing.
We all grew up. We all grew up.
We all grew up.
Yep.
I should hope so.
Are we all adults? Technically, yes.
Questionably so.
Yes. So, what was the first Disney movie that you remember watching?
Maybe Mulan? Maybe the animated Mulan?
Oh, yeah. Did you enjoy it?
I did, yeah. We always loved even as a kid, it was quite fun seeing Asian representation. But, if that was the first one, I probably wouldn't even have picked that up necessarily as this is rather interesting. It's the first time we're seeing an Asian character on screen for me, but it was nice to start off with that. I remember Mushu was quite funny, obviously. For some reason, though, I don't remember the songs as well. I definitely heard these songs. I just couldn't, if you asked me to sing the songs or, list out the lyrics. I couldn't do it to save my life. So
okay.
I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah, I just remember Mulan. There you go.
Fortunately, I actually remember most of the movies, and when we would go on for long drives, my parents would just get me to sing. So they would say a TV show or a movie, and I'd start singing either the soundtrack or like the music from it. And I was just a music box, and I realized I was like, that kid's gonna be music. Just some music.
just
music.
So as soon as you said Mulan, I was like, da 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 da. I already started going off one of the songs.
My God.
So before I get to Elliot's answer, I was gonna say that I know that you've watched both the classic and the remake.
So I was gonna mention this.
Yeah. What were the differences, and did you like some of the changes that they made in the remake? Because I know there was quite a few of them.
Yes.
Yeah, do you want to...
I will keep it short.
Yeah,
I'll keep it short so I don't want Elliot to be waiting for too long.
No,
I'm just vibing.
But I will keep it abridged because there are plenty of reviews out there. Okay, my opinion for the film essentially came down to this. When you give Mulan superpowers, essentially, that's what they've done. If you give Mulan superpowers, it kind of defeats the point of the character of Mulan. That's really it. Mulan is all about, persevering as a woman in a world of men and outsmarting everyone with her intelligence and not her muscles. It sort of just goes against that in the live action remake because Mulan just has this, this chi power and she's like the chosen one and she's like really great, naturally physically gifted at martial arts and she can, she's stronger than everyone. It's just like, no, that's not it. I'm sorry, that's just not it.
Yeah, fair.
And visually, it looked really nice. It was really stunning to see that brilliant 4K, really vibrant colors. I like the music too. I like Harry Gregson Williams. He's the composer for Narnia and he also composed soundtrack for Disney Nature Penguins, which I'm going to talk about later because I really like this, and Elliot knows about this. I've been telling Elliot about it as well. Penguins, and I did mention it to Hanae as well.
Penguins.
But even with the music, I was sort of like, well, this was, Harry did a fantastic job, but I was like, oh, this is a bit of a missed opportunity. Like this could have been a great place to say allow a Chinese American composer to step up and try their hand. I understand it's like a big multi-million-dollar project for Disney, but I'm sure there's someone out there in America, who could have been also capable of doing this job. And it just seemed like a missed opportunity. So there's just a number of things that just sort of stacked on top of itself. And so my overall impression of the film was not so great. And that's my hot take.
Lovely hot take.
My Mulan
hot
take.
The Mulan take. Back at Jonathan's mini reviews. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I haven't seen the remake, but I had heard of all these things, and I agree with you. That kind of ruins the idea of Mulan because she's just meant to be a woman who is fighting for her father's honor, and she replaces him in the war.
She's still doing that.
Yeah,
she's still doing that.
But she has to work to become a warrior, and she doesn't have magical powers that help her get anywhere.
Oh, she's essentially the chosen one.
No, not this again.
Same.
But we love a superhero movie, but just not Mulan.
Yeah, like that's great for another idea for a movie.
We love Captain America.
Captain America, the princess.
The princess. Princess America.
Oh my gosh, yes.
My favorite Disney princess.
Oh, I would watch Princess America, I reckon. You get a point for Princess America. I love that. Elliot, same question. What was the first Disney movie that you remember watching?
It's a hard one. So I literally grew up with all of Disney. So being able to pinpoint one that I watched first or remember watching first, even then I'm like, oh, I couldn't say.
Yeah, that's fair.
But the one that sticks out to me...
Yeah, it's Pinocchio, a true story.
Pinocchio, True Story. Yeah, the one that came out this year.
Skitty.
No, so the one that I remember the most, I think that I watched when I was super young, and I still love, but I just remember being obsessed with it for ages, was 101 Dalmatians.
Yes.
So that was like, I was into the whole franchise of 101 Dalmatians as well. So it wasn't just like the singular animated film, it was the spin-off animated film, the series, and the two live-action movies that they had at the time. Like, I was full on into 101 Dalmatians.
Respect.
Yeah, so much respect to me. And the video game. I still have the video game for that as well.
Oh my gosh, you get a point for the video game.
It's so much fun.
I didn't know that.
It's a video game. Yeah, it's a PlayStation video game. You play as either Domino or Oddball, and you have to save all your brothers and sisters from the poachers or whatever, the two, like, henchmen of Cruella.
It's really, really fun. You just like run around in different environments. There's a whole bunch of like mini, smaller puzzles and stuff in these larger environments. Like a good platformer.
I feel like I've heard of the game, but I don't think I've played it. But now I feel like I have played it. Like Elliot, I also grew up with a number of Disney movies, and I was trying to remember which one. The one that came to my mind was Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh,
it's not like a classic Disney animated movie. I know, but that one was like, oh, I remember watching that a lot as a kid, and oh my gosh, I love the soundtrack. I'm not gonna lie, it's a catchy soundtrack.
I've regained an appreciation for it because of Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But my Instagram?
No, just seeing like memes about it.
Said my Instagram.
Memes that use the music as well. The one I'm thinking of is the one where it's there's like a guy talking to his phone, obviously, and he's just saying like what men want, and it's like the bridge version is like, oh, men don't want women. Essentially, they want to search for Atlantis and the lost treasure, and they start like running away from their partner while the Pirates of the Caribbean music plays in the background.
Hell yeah!
Oh
I just find that quite amusing.
I'm trying to think of a Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. Actually, that's some I watched quite a bit of that I remember. Peter Pan is an interesting story now that I look back to it as an adult.
Oh, yeah, Peter Pan is fucked up.
Dumbo was my favorite. There it was. That's it, guys. Dumbo was actually my favorite animated Walt Disney movie, and the part where he has to leave his mum broke my heart every time I watched it.
Dumbo was okay.
Pardon? Did you just say it was okay?
It was okay, says Elliot.
It was okay.
I don't appreciate that tone. Okay, so talking about all our Disney movies that we have seen and all that jazz. In your opinion, what movie, what Disney movie, and we're going to stick with animated movies, which one has the most questionable story and why?
I mean, some of the early ones are also questionable.
That's where I'm going with this. Okay, I will go first so you guys think. Little Mermaid is messed up. Like, yes, I agree. All the very early Disney movies, so questionable, messed up storylines. You're just like, what are you doing?
Peter Pan's a bit messed up.
Yeah, we'll get to Peter Pan, don't worry.
Pinocchio is just really, really messed up.
Yeah, like Pinocchio gets turned into...
Alice in Wonderland is literally a favorite dream.
Yeah, I actually recently watched all the Alice in Wonderlands. And I was like, this is just drugs, isn't it? Is this what high is?
You wish.
Sure. I mean, I don't wish, but I was just wondering. But Little Mermaid, y'all. Like, she leaves her family, all her sisters, her dad, for the... Like, humans killed her mother. That's why her dad hates the humans. And she's just like, you know what? I've never met this man, but I love him. And then she leaves all that she knows, her family, her friends. Flounder. She left her best friend, Flounder. He can't follow her. And she goes to the human world where she can't speak, hangs out with him for 3 days, and she's like, yeah, we're getting married. Bye, Dad. We're not going to see you again because in the second movie, we have a huge wall surrounding the castle. So my daughter can't see you because of the witch in the water.
Yeah.
Heck, girl, get your priorities straight. They haven't had a conversation. How do you know that he likes you? For you. He just
converse through eye contact.
No. It's so dumb. I hate it. Why would you do that? And it frustrates me. As a kid watching it, loved it. It was a mermaid. She was singing. I was like, oh, so pretty. Growing up, watching it, I was like, this is fine. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, what were you thinking?
Facts.
Now that I've had my rant of hatred, Jonathan, up opinion.
Yes, hello.
Go for it. What movie has in your opinion, has a questionable story?
Has a questionable story.
Yeah, and explain.
I mean, this is a classic go-to for questionable stories. Beauty and the Beast, Stockholm Syndrome, hello. That's essentially what the plot boils down to.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I get captured by this monster. Fall in love with captor. Happily ever after. Yeah. Obviously, there's more to unpack than that.
Someone
Obviously,
dies.
I understand there's more layers to it than that. It's really not quite as cut and dry, but, that is somewhat problematic, and that's all I'll say.
Doesn't Gaston die, though?
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure Gaston falls to his death.
Yeah,
or something.
If it's not
it gets struck by
a
lightning,
young girl falling in love with a questionable man and someone getting murdered, it's not a Disney classic. Then what are you watching? I love what they teach young...
That's what everyone's watching. Great Mouse Detective.
Oh my gosh, you're not wrong. That was good. I remember watching that. I think the only scene I can always just remember is the last scene with the giant clock, which is probably Big Ben.
Probably.
The mouse gets murdered. Oh, rat. Oh my gosh.
Murdered.
Why is there so much death in Disney? Why am I only realizing this now?
Also, like the lack of parents, because all the parents are either like,
Actually, there's a reason
died
for that.
of old age or they died from disease.
Yeah, so the reason for that is that Walt Disney lost his mother at kind of a young age.
That's a theory, I believe.
I think it is a theory.
It's a theory.
Is it? Oh, my bad. I remember reading that, and I didn't say theory.
Everything's a theory if you really think about it.
Elliot, did you have a chance to think about any movie that early Disney movie?
Did.
That was a bit messed up.
And I'm going to take it in a different direction.
Ooh, go for it.
Amazing.
We love a different
The
direction.
Black Cauldron.
Black Cauldron.
There was a character whose name I cannot pronounce because it's been so long. It was Gurgi or Gurgi. I think it's Gurgi. He was in the Black Cauldron who was just like a cowardly friend who was just obsessed with the main character, a little hero. And Gurgi fucking kills himself.
What?
Are you serious?
Yes, Gurgi fucking kills himself by jumping into a cauldron. So the main character is like, I'm going to jump into this cauldron and save everyone.
Hmm.
And then Gurgi's like, no, you're not. I'm going to, after being just kicked around for the entire film. Like, he gets no love whatsoever. He's just like, always sad because like all he wants is a friend and he just doesn't get friendship, and then he just jumps into a cauldron to kill himself. Of course he's like
very messed up.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
gosh.
at the end of course he comes back to life with the power of friendship, but like
Right.
of
Sorry.
course.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, jump in the
Yeah,
cauldron.
well, there are witches in this world, so like, you know, it gets a bit, it is about magic, so like I get
Yeah.
it, but like I just simply wouldn't make this character kill himself.
Yeah, that's messed up. What was his name?
Gurgi.
Gurgi. What the heck, man? Don't do that.
What the heck, Gurgi?
He's not your friend. My advice to Gurgi: leave.
Leave.
Gurgi.
Leave and-
Gurgi,
Leave now.
and never come back.
Come back.
Also, Gurgi just looks like either terrifying or adorable, and I can't decide.
Oh, he looks like a little old man.
He looks like a little old man. He's
But,
a little
like-
old dog man.
Yeah, what is he?
He's a dog, kind of.
With a great mustache. Heck.
He's got a great mustache. I think
He
he's got
looks
a humanoid
so
dog.
wholesome. Like a very pure, sweet character.
He just
Don't do
eats
that.
apples. Gurgi just wants apples. That's all he wants in life is friendship and apples. And
Did he
frankly,
get any of those?
don't we all? Yeah, look, it's a film. Black Cauldron is a film, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend watching it.
Oh, good to know. I've never watched it. Probably never will.
Just a very quick aside. There's a film called Oliver and Company, and it just
Oh my
looks
gosh,
like
I
cute
missed that film.
animals.
I've seen that. That's really
Oh.
cute. That's wholesome.
I didn't
It
know
is
this
so
existed.
sad.
It just looks kind of fun.
It's good. You should watch
It
that
is.
one. Okay,
It
maybe
is
to recommend.
depressing.
Oh,
How
it's
is that-
depressing.
How is it
It is
depressing?
very, very sad. Yeah, dude. Oliver and Company is about a cat getting lost, never finding its owner, or like walking the streets or something, coming in with a bunch of dogs who hate this cat, and having to find a place in a family. And
He
like,
finds a little girl who really loves him and takes care of him,
Yeah,
and then they kidnap him. So-called friends kidnap him to take him back, and then
literally,
the little.
it's like a whole thing.
It's not.
It's
Okay.
sad. It's,
All right, never
it's a
mind then.
tearjerker.
I just looked at, because I've never watched this before, and I looked at the cover,
I
and I was like,
didn't
oh, that
think
looks kind of fun. There's a bunch of cute animals. And then, yeah, of course, as I hear the plot, it's like, okay, not so fun.
It's adorable, but like
I take back my statement immediately.
I don't think it's
it's
that
got some
horrible.
great characters though.
It
Like
does.
some of the animation styles are really, really fun. And like that one dog with like the bandana. What a
Oh,
cool dog.
the little chihuahua. No,
No, not
that's
the
not a
Chihuahua.
head
The
bandana.
terrier.
Yeah, no, I realize. So, going on, let's get into our game segment where, on the spot, I want you can use the same movie you suggested if you like, but you're going to rewrite this old classic Disney movie into what you would have wanted the outcome to be. So, if,
Oh, okay.
for example, Ariel doesn't chase the man, Ariel would stay in the kingdom and she would practice her singing and she would become the best opera singer under the sea. And Sebastian would finally get to make the best opera ever. And Sebastian
Man.
would become the real main character and he would travel in the ocean, going from ocean to
Seven
ocean.
Seas looking for Atlantis and its lost treasure.
I would watch that. I think that'd be a good time. Anyway, so you guys can
Yeah.
use the
Sounds
same
good.
movie that you suggested if you like, or you can pick one of the old ones where you're like, you know what? Cinderella, what were you doing at the ball? Do you guys have any ideas, or do you want me to circle back later?
I have some ideas.
Ooh.
Jonathan, please give us your ideas.
Go for it.
You have the floor. Yeah. So I talked about Beauty and the Beast. So
here we go.
And I mentioned Stockholm Syndrome as its problem. So I guess the obvious solution would be to not have that particular element. I guess it's a bit difficult though, because if you want the happily ever after outcome of Belle getting with Beast, no matter how early she's released. So if my obvious solution would have been, oh, okay, well then instead of falling in love while sort of being contained to the castle, maybe he lets her go and then she decides to come back on her own volition. That's still somewhat Stockholm Syndrome though.
Maybe
I
she
believe.
Was never captured.
I could be wrong. Do correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, so I guess like, I don't know, the only other outcome is that she, I don't know, maybe the Beast lets her go. The positive outcome would be Beast lets her go. I don't know, they stay pen pals. And she learns from that experience and finds somebody else who didn't keep her captive, because I'm sorry, that's just a bit unhealthy. It just sounds a bit unhealthy no matter how you cut that. So
yeah,
they could be friends.
It teaches him how to write and then they become pen pals. Which sounds kind of more wholesomely adorable.
You know? Right?
I like that.
And like, you know, maybe once a year she like comes to the castle.
It's like Christmas.
Hangs out.
She's like, Merry
During the
Christmas.
ball, yeah.
You captured me, but we're going to work on your social skills.
We're good pals. Yeah, we're good pals now. But we're not getting together. I'm afraid that's somewhere. You got to draw a line somewhere.
Yeah, Belle, for being someone that smart, girl, draw your line a little bit sooner. What happened to Gaston?
Gaston.
Obviously, he lives now.
Well, I guess yeah. Well, yes,
murdered.
He lived. He's not murdered. He didn't fall to his death. But how about Gaston's whole thing is like he's just so over the top, just bad, for lack of a better word.
I reckon
he's just a bad man, not a good dude.
Because he likes Belle. Maybe he just deserves a mirror.
He likes himself so much, yeah. Like maybe he's just, can he just self-contain his nastiness?
He learns to be a better person.
He's just in the corner of, yeah. He's just. I mean, it just becomes really, it becomes super camp by the end. It's just like, everyone's just nice people. I mean, he can just be terrible by himself off in the corner, just not disturbing anybody. Like, he just owns a little patch of land out in the farm, just out in the middle of nowhere, and that's where he lives,
Maybe Gaston and the Beast should swap places, so Gaston can just hang out by himself in the castle, because he'd probably love that. And the Beast could learn social skills in the village.
Nice. Some social skills.
That doesn't sound so bad. That's a rather elegant solution.
Maybe when we started, I was like, maybe there is no solution to Walt Disney.
No solution to
Walt
Disney.
2 points for that.
There you go.
Some really good ideas on how to not be Belle.
Love it.
Questionable storylines. Disney, what were you thinking? But we'll get to that in a hot sec. Elliot, do you have a movie? Because you did talk about Gurgi and what his new life would be. Would you pick a different movie, or would you?
I want to pick a different movie for this. I do still agree, obviously, with Gurgi and his changes. Obviously, not killing himself would be great.
And friendship.
Yeah, apples and friendship. But I'm actually going to go with Pocahontas and say maybe Pocahontas shouldn't have fallen in love with John Smith, because that seems bad. Like, that's a very questionable plot line. And I would simply not have it.
Fair enough.
If it's just the first movie, by itself, I think it's a good standalone movie. And how I love that she actually stays with her family. That's one thing I do agree with.
Correct.
But then in the second movie, she's like, yeah, no, she's in London. I was like, what? Why are you? This is getting into some really dark, messed up history now. It's just like, please
literally
don't.
I think there's a way to do a story similar to Pocahontas, i.e. like the blue Avatar, where it's like I think that's even though it's still very questionable in how it's done, I think that's more of an acceptable way to have a love story surrounding colonization, because think about it, they are literally beat to beat the same film, because it's not based in a world of reality, whereas Pocahontas is just like, you're stepping into a line that is just a bit too close for comfort. So that's my take.
It's a very true take. And in talking about them stepping almost over the line, pretty much...
They stepped over the line, but like, yeah.
They step on it. They, like, have a whole tap routine on it. as you know, most Disney movies were based off the Grimm brothers and Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. Do you actually know any of their stories for children?
I've heard of them.
Yes.
Of course.
So,
but not any specific detail. Like,
here's
I know
my
I'm talking
fun fact.
Yeah.
I know them purely because of Into the Woods. That's the reason that I know
yes, that's right.
of the Grimm's tales is just Into the Woods.
That is
okay,
true.
There you go.
Weirdly enough, I actually read some of these because I was like, look at this cool book cover. I'm going to read this. And then I read it. I was like, is this what depression is? It was
you hold the butterfly meme. Is this depression?
Yeah, just replace that with my face instead.
Is this depression?
Well, like going back, I know I've been talking about Little Mermaid a lot, and I do apologize, but it's the kind of the story that's kind of for some reason on my mind today. But the ending to that, she actually dies. So she never, in the Grimm's brothers, I do believe it is, she never actually ends up with the prince. She actually ends up dying, returning to sea, dying, but she becomes a sea foam because she cried so much while dying. And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
So
there's also a version where she kills the prince and herself, isn't there?
Is there? Oh.
Yeah, there's a version where she kills the prince because that's the only way that she can return to the water. But then it's like that ending, but it's a trick where it's like she kills the prince, then with so much pain from that murder, she kills herself and then returns to the sea as foam.
Fun.
Oh. Yeah, I think the prince and princess celebrate their new marriage aboard a wedding ship, and the Little Mermaid's heart breaks. She thinks of all the things that she has sacrificed and all the pain she has endured for the prince. She despairs thinking of the death that awaits her, but before dawn, her sisters rise out of the water, bringing her a dagger. Oh, what a lovely wedding gift that the sea witch has given them to exchange for their long, beautiful hair. If the Little Mermaid kills the prince and lets his blood drip on her feet, she will become a mermaid once again. Oh my gosh. And all her suffering will end. And she'll live out a full life in the ocean with her family. However, the Little Mermaid cannot bring herself to kill the sleeping prince, flying with his new wife, and she throws a dagger and herself off the ship into the water. Just as dawn breaks, her body dissolves into foam, but instead of ceasing to exist, she feels the warm sun and discovers that she turned into the luminous and ethereal earthbound spirit, a daughter of the air. Oh, she doesn't even get her wish. She doesn't become water. As the Little Mermaid ascends into the atmosphere, she's greeted by other daughters who tell her she's become like them because she strove with all her heart to obtain an immortal soul. Because of her selflessness, she is given the chance to earn her soul by doing good deeds for mankind for 300 years and will one day rise up to heaven. What?
And wild.
What is the ending?
So dramatically different.
That's like an opera right there.
That's the last act as well. That's a whole hour of an opera. Damn. Yeah, so they have messed up stories. Another weird story. Hansel and Gretel. I was talking to this about Mum the other day. I was like, the kids were ever going to be eaten, so they pushed the witch into the furnace, so she got burnt alive. But then I realized who the real bad guy was. It's the dad, because he lets his new wife talk him into leaving his kids out in the woods.
Oh my gosh.
The heck?
Well, it sounds like the wife is the villain then, because she talked him into doing it.
No, the husband thought, hey, that's a good idea as well.
So they're both villains.
Yeah,
they're both equally guilty.
Oh, yeah, but I'm just saying, what the heck? What type of parents? Well, obviously, she's kind of the half parent, I guess, since she's married into the family, but still. You know what? I don't want kids. Leave them out in the woods. They'll be fine.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, what the heck? That's so mean.
They're both villains.
Yeah, right? And then there's Snow White. She gets taken out into the woods to be murdered.
Oh, yes, of course.
She gets poisoned by an apple. She gets kissed by a stranger.
You're saying like Sleeping Beauty as well?
I was going to say Sleeping Beauty, kissed by a stranger. And I'm just like, hello, what are you doing in my room, stranger?
That sounds like a lawsuit.
Right?
And a half, jeez.
Like, we grew up with these. Not all of these, obviously. But I'm just like, this was a time. Like, someone wrote this and they're like, this is a really good story. Murder, strangers kissing, you know, the princess living, I guess, after dying. It's like, what on earth is wrong with these writers? I mean...
We love critical thinking skills.
Yeah, these are definitely my critical thinking. Yeah, so it's interesting to look at Grimm's Brothers and Hans Christian Andersen to see where the original stories were based and had have been adapted. But also, I don't think I'd recommend them. Not to children. Maybe to adults, that's fine. Read them at your own risk. But like children, they're going to be having nightmares, I reckon.
That's the point.
Like Cinderella, as Elliot was saying in Into the Woods. What happens to the stepsisters? Do you want to take that one, Elliot?
My gosh, this.
Or like to try to put on the shoes, they like cut off their feet, first of all, like parts of their foot to try fit into the shoes.
Yeah.
And then they get their eyes picked out by crows.
Yeah.
I think in the original they get pecked to death.
Yeah, I think they
Into
do
the
too.
Woods is just like eyes picked out, but in the original they get pecked to death, like the fucking grains or some shit, which is pretty iconic.
Yeah, what a way to go, right? And like, I don't think anything happens to the stepmother. Not from memory.
I'm actually not too sure.
Did she just like, now I have no kids? What a shame.
Probably.
I think so, yeah.
Wow, what a strange life, I guess. So
amazing parents.
I know, Walt Disney parents either have them or they're terrible. Ugh, messed up. Okay, let's get out of this depressing, messed up stage and let's go into more of an upbeat turn of events. So, in your opinion, what movie has the best soundtrack, or the most memorable? And was there a specific song that actually really stood out to you?
Hercules.
Hercules.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate. Yes. Yeah. It's just like Hercules.
I don't know if I need to elaborate on Hercules. I mean,
this is true.
I think Hercules speaks for itself. And I'll say 0 to hero.
So, which one's your favorite song?
0 to hero.
Yeah.
Just like that.
First one.
Yeah, the first one. I personally
really the first number.
Love the character Meg in. Actually, no, I love all the characters, so but Meg stood out to me is not a normal stereotypical female character in the Disney movies because she's like very sarcastically blunt, and I love it.
Hades is my lifeblood.
Oh, Hades is great.
Hades is a mood.
Hades has every reason to do everything that he's doing in this movie, and I stand by it.
He's just having like a mental breakdown the entire time.
Yeah, like that's so understandable. And he's just trying to get back at his brother, I guess. I can't quite remember. And he's like, yeah, that's siblings. That's what they do. They know each other.
Big energy.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything with this movie. I want to watch this again, actually, now that you've mentioned it. Because it's been a while.
Hercules is pretty good.
That was actually a good one. Good. So, 0 to hero, any other ones? Or that one's your top pick?
That's my top pick.
Nice. Favorite character would be Hades, right?
It would be Hades, yeah.
Okay.
Hades, we love some Hades.
We do. What were the worst characters then, in your opinion? Or the weaker characters?
The worst characters?
Or weaker in the movie?
That's hard. They're all really, really strong. Maybe like Hermes. Like, I think, but it's just because he doesn't have much screen time.
That's
like,
true.
He's a genuinely good character, but just like the lack of screen time for him.
Yeah. You know what? Hercules was done great. Walt Disney, good job. You did something good.
Hercules was a great film.
Yeah, I totally agree with this, and you get a point for that. A point for your good opinion. Jonathan, what is a soundtrack movie that stood out to you, or is your your absolute favorite?
Absolute favorite, yeah. Well, if we're just keeping to the realm of Disney animated,
yes,
I think so. Not necessarily the best. Let me preface this by saying,
your
I'm
favorite.
Sure,
or...
I don't want to find anyone on going like, oh, this is the best. I'll just say this is my favorite.
Yeah, no one come for us. This is our own opinion, and you should know this by now. Honestly, go for it.
It's not the best necessarily, but it's my favorite.
Okay, what is
but
it?
I think you'll agree it's very solid. Moana, of course.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed Moana when I saw it. It was sort of a turning point for me, actually, in terms of the world. With my experience with musicals, when I watched this film, I was like, damn, power of song. So we've mentioned this in our very first episode, episode 1. I also mentioned my favorite song back then as well, which is still the same. This is called I Am Moana, a song of the ancestors.
I love that. Yes.
About...
Oh my gosh.
It's so good. It's so good. So we've already had this conversation. So
it's Lin-Manuel's
we don't need to go on it too long,
back.
but it's fantastic. It is fantastic.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Actually, whenever I listen to the soundtrack, that's my actual favorite go-to.
I do want to also mention, though, make a special mention for Tangled. Not necessarily the songs. The songs are also very good, but I want to mention Tangled specifically for the orchestral score.
Yes, do it.
And all the orchestration done on that, which reminds me that they've actually released the orchestral score, like the actual book, like all the written music available for purchase, which is like quite rare because you really can't find these scores anywhere. and I believe this is the first Disney animated film to be ever released in this fashion. So I'm gonna try to get my hands on that when I can. It's Omniscore's.
Yeah.
If you're interested,
I am interested.
Visit Omniscore website. It will be on there. The Omniscore's website. Kevin Cleach on orchestration does an amazing job.
Why don't I remember what movie? I came up with all these questions and no answers for myself. I love that. Let's go with something.
Pinocchio. Surely Pinocchio.
Surely Pinocchio. No, I actually haven't seen any of the Pinocchio movies.
It's too scary.
It does look scary. Like he turns into a.
To be fair, there's only one true story. So
this is
the
true.
other ones aren't worth it.
No, those ones are lives. Obviously, they're interpretations or adaptations, but this one is a true.
It's a true story.
So I can't remember if this is Disney, but I think it is Disney. But I loved the soundtrack for Bolt.
Oh yeah, John Powell.
By John Powell. I grew up
so good.
when I grew up. Yes, we're doing this again. When this came out, I was obsessed. I watched the movie so much, and then my mum bought me the CD for the soundtrack. And I think that was one of the early experiences where I actually listened to movie soundtracks. And I was like, why are there only 2 singing songs? But then I discovered the true beauty behind the scenes of listening to the background songs. Yes. And I was like, this is the best thing in the world. Does everyone else know about this?
So good.
It's got some good themes. I love them. The one that, like, Fast Train is a good vibe because, you know, he's trying to jump on the train and prove he's a super dog while the cat's like, oh my gosh, you're going to murder me. To him finding his owner in the fire that's burning down the building, and that really impactful emotional music that's pulling your hearts, and then, you know, all hope seems lost when they can't find a door and it becomes all silent, and his theme, the piano theme when he's a puppy, so cute. You can tell I'm not obsessed.
You're not obsessed.
No, I just remember it because I've listened to it a lot as a kid, and it's still like embedded in my soul. I think that's one of my favorite soundtracks, younger ones at least, that I remember listening to quite a lot. So before we go on to some more Disney-ness, hey guys,
hi,
what are we drinking?
Oh wait, can you please take this one?
What are we currently drinking at the moment? Elliot, would you take the wheel?
Water. I'm drinking water.
Ugh.
Which is still better than me.
Hydration, important.
Look, I had
but it's not who ordered water.
I know. I did a float bath the other day. A little float in a sensory deprivation tank, and the salts are just like really in my body, and I'm really dehydrated. So I just am having as much water as possible.
Okay, you have probably and it's really good reason I never thought someone would give me. So you get a point.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Before Jonathan probably tells us about his spiel, I am drinking coffee. I am being so boring. I'm being very predictable. I'm drinking a vanilla latte again because it's in the house. And I was like, yeah, it's the coffee of probably the year. I'm not gonna lie. I don't experiment too much. Sometimes I'm in the mood for a different coffee. I am not. I'm in the mood for my usual warm drink because it's getting a little bit chilly. Jonathan, would you like to tell us what you are drinking?
I have just a cup of water, cold water, so it's probably not even as good as Elliot's. I don't know.
Elliot, is your water cold?
My water is in a water bottle.
It's in a water bottle. There you go. I just have a cup of water. The thing is on the Friday, so this was after we'd recorded, the last time we recorded, I had a coffee in the morning for the show, and then I got super tired in the middle of the day, and I remember this, and then I had another coffee. Was it a macchiato?
Tell them what you ordered?
The macchiato.
Yeah, macchiato.
The macchiato. So at least I can bring that to the show. I ordered a macchiato, you guys. It was bitter. It was not great. I did not particularly like it.
He was brave. I was going to try something new, but then I realized I just need my normal caffeine kick, not a different caffeine kick. So I was like, respect to Jonathan for trying something new. I'm going to be boring. You get a point for the macchiato. The
macchiato. But why I'm not drinking any coffee a week later, well, it's because
Jonathan's leaving.
It's because I'm leaving. No, I discovered over the weekend. Well, I didn't exactly discover. It's more like I just started eliminating things from my diet, trying to narrow in on what was causing me to become inexplicably tired. I thought perhaps maybe I'd come down with some kind of illness. I'm not convinced I haven't, but, I thought it may be COVID. I did take a rat test. it was fine. It turned out it was negative. So it was not COVID, and it still is not COVID. It still is not COVID. But yeah, I stopped drinking coffee, and funnily enough, I stopped being so tired. So I can only assume it was the coffee. So I'm giving coffee a full break for at least a week. So today marks a full week. So check back in next week to find out if I ever drink coffee again.
Wow, this is sad.
This is sad. And Elliot will have to listen to the show to find out.
Find out. It won't be around.
This makes me sad, actually. Like, it
so
kind
sad.
of defeats the whole purpose of Who Ordered Coffee.
I know.
Obviously, it wasn't two of you. Yeah, so Jonathan, I do hope you are feeling a lot better. I hope that one day you can drink coffee again.
Yes, hopefully.
So you can fully become back as the member of Who Ordered Coffee.
Yeah.
Until then, you're the...
Who Ordered Water. I'm part of the Who Ordered Water gang with
Who Ordered
Elliot.
Water. That's our new segment. Who Ordered Water?
Who Ordered Water?
Yeah, you guys. Well, I mean, stay hydrated. Don't just drink coffee. For those listeners who don't know what water is, you should actually go drink some water.
Coffee has water.
Go
in
hydrate.
It.
No, it's not. We're not doing this again. You get headaches if you drink a lot of coffee because there's not that much water in it, and it's not hydrating your body properly. Anyway, do take care of yourselves out there. So, going back to Disney. So, we're all musos. One of us is a huge musical theatre star.
Me, it's me.
Yeah,
It's me.
In your opinion, what Disney movie has the best musical numbers? Or, in a next question, what Disney movie could be made into an actual musical theatre production?
Well, I feel like we partially answered this. Elliot, did you have something to say?
No, I can't decide.
Okay.
Look, Disney has made a plethora of musicals based on their animated works and stuff. And even like the animated movies have amazing soundtracks and like amazing like vocal like musical scores or whatever. But then they also have like their live action musicals like Mary Poppins and Newsies. And now they also have Into the Woods, West Side Story, and Hamilton, and all these other musicals as well. Like, this is, for me, too broad, too much. Could not give a singular answer. My answer specifically is one song and one song only that matters at the moment to me. At this exact moment in time, Women in Sandwiches from Freaky Friday is the only song that exists.
Okay, Women in Sandwiches.
Women and Sandwiches. Sandwiches.
Hey.
Oh, and sandwiches. Okay.
Interesting.
Sandwiches.
Can't say
Go
I've
check
heard
out
of that, but
you will have to give it a listen.
Friday.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Okay. I trust you, Elliot. I don't think Jonathan does.
What?
Trust you.
Okay, so you don't think any of the movies, because they have been, obviously, as you said, they've been made into.
I don't want to test fate. I don't want to test fate by saying like this one should become a musical, because then it will. And I'm just so done with Disney musicals being.
Yes.
I mean, that's fair. Again. I'm kind of. Here we go again. Like, I love Disney. I think they can produce some really good music, but I really wish they'd stop doing remakes as well. I know that's not a musical production. Jonathan, do you have an answer?
Yeah.
For the question of all questions?
Hello, this is post-production Jonathan jumping in here to say that during the recording of this bit, I actually misunderstood the question and ended up saying what I thought my favorite Disney musical was, which essentially we had already done previously, so I ended up just rehashing what I said earlier. I'm just going to say here now that I think Encanto would make a great live-action musical. I think Lin-Manuel Miranda has already proven that very unequivocally that he can write for the live stage, and obviously as he went about writing his musical for Disney animation, he would have brought the same kind of chops that he used for those live productions so easily. Encanto would be up there. There you go. So there's my answers. Now back to the show.
Anyway, so I regret to say that we will have to bid Elliot a farewell for at least a few weeks. By a few weeks, I actually do mean probably a season.
Yeah, like the remaining 7 episodes.
We will be having some guests in, so stay tuned to see who we're getting in each episode. Unfortunately, Elliot will not be joining us, but Elliot will be listening in, and he will definitely be coming back next season. So, Elliot,
will indeed.
Do you want to say any final words before I wrap this bit up?
Yeah, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Clink,
I remember this.
Clink.
Clink, clink, clink. So while Elliot's doing his thank, I think Jonathan's working really hard to censor. Elliot, has 5 points, and Jonathon, you have 6. So tune in next week. Jonathon is going to be hosting.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
going to have to do some homework. I'm going to have to
Jonathon.
ask our guest.
I can't wait.
I'm going to have to ask our guests what they'd like to talk about.
Yeah, so tune in to see who our first guest is. And thank you for listening. And tune in next week to see who's joining us and to see what Jonathon's topic is.
Fantastic.
Bye, Elliot. Good luck for Greece.
Yes.
And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.